Join Cycling solves the mystery of what training to do each day. Join builds a personalized plan around your level, your goals, and your availability. If you want structured training without the guesswork, try Join Cycling using the link down below. Eschborn-Frankfurt, can the sprinters catch the punchers? This is always a pretty good classic with it coming down right to the wire. We've had Søren Kragh Andersen win this race before a couple of years ago. He's back. Michael Matthews, last year's winner. He's unfortunately recovering from a bad injury. They've changed the route. They've put two Mummelsheim climbs closer to each other near the final. That makes it less likely to be a sprint. The punchers like Van Gils, Pidcock, Ben Tullett third in Flesch, or German natty champ Georg Zimmermann. This is the sort of hilly race at the back end of the Ardennes calendar that they'd really like. The big German boys like Pollitt, Degenkolb and Ackermann, less so. It's a bit too hard for the sprinters like that. We had a breakaway, got the road. Mikutis bridged across to it. The gap went to 6 minutes, which is quite unusual in a classic. Before Q365 blinked, they started to pace. Ineos pacing. They've got Axel Laurence they're hoping can make the group. And they got Ben Turner for the sprint behind. Decathlon have Lund Andresen here, winner of Cadel Evans, a punchy 200k one-day race. Uno X are going for Magnus Cort. And we got Bahrain. They're one of the teams wanting a more aggressive race. Same as Visma. They've got Ben Tullett rather than like a Matthew Brennan's not on the start list. So Bahrain is following. It's not Zambanini, is it? I would have thought he'd be waiting for the sprint. But Uno X retake control. And we see that the breakaway lost the best part of 4 minutes over the Feldberg, the extended climbing section of the race. Then we have some punchy hills. Tim Wellens, he goes on the attack. Bahrain again interested in getting a rider up the road. And this is where control's really important. So Q365, they were controlling but not really making the race hard. So for Pidcock, he'd want essentially the smallest group possible. Jamie Meehan anticipated Verstringer, who was fourth in Liège. He went across, and then Tim Wellens bridged across to him. So the sprint teams, Uno X, they retake control again. The gap, Tim Wellens gets 1 minute. He gets the breakaway. He's too strong for them, drops them, brings his Belgian compatriot Verstringer with him. Corbin Strong's here for NSN, a good option on a parkour like this, so they start chasing. Second last Mummelsheim. And the thing is, if you don't use your domestiques, you have to go slow on the climbs to get them over to use them afterwards. It's a really tricky balancing game for the sprinters. That's why these parkour, it's quite an entertaining last hour of this race, actually, because you've got Wellens ahead, Louis Barret pacing on the flat, trying to control the gap, but then no one else is chasing, and why? Like, Bora there with numbers, same with NSN. The answer is they want to have domestiques to bring back their sprinter if they get distanced, when they get distanced, on the final 5 minute 9% hill. So the gap goes out to Wellens back to 50 seconds. We don't see much of what happens at the start of the climb in the peloton. Tullett launches one bomber, then he waits, and you see Ormazel, the young Slovenian stars, on his wheel. Baudin's there for EF Education, Easy Post. It's all the climbers coming to the front. Tullett goes again. Got Tesfazion, Izagirre, Pidcock there, but Bora here. I think, is it Echebarria? He's here in the group. Look where Georg Zimmermann is. Look where he is. He's behind Ben Turner. He's like 10 seconds behind Tullett with almost the sprinters group when we see about 25, 30 seconds behind a group with, I think maybe Hajduk, but definitely Lund Andresen, Pithy, and they got teammates. So it's actually quite a big group in chasing whatever punchers are up the road, which we don't see many images of for quite a while. We then see Tullett's distanced everybody except Alex Baudin. The two small climbers probably not going to be able to do 35Ks of flat themselves. They're quickly caught by a lot of punchers. So very interesting group forms, quite like the Søren Kragh Andersen win a few years ago, group of 12 or so. Bilbao's on the front, Pidcock's made it, of course. There's Tullett, Perikas, the young climber from UAE. Two teams with two riders. EF with Baudin and Volgren, both not the best sprint. Lotto with Gualdi and Zimmermann, both with a pretty good sprint. So I found Lotto's tactics curious. They had a really difficult decision. Like, it's hard to really split them, which one's quicker. And Gualdi came second to Brennan in the sprint last year. We get into the city circuit, we see the teams that have missed it. Ineos, Uno X, NSN, Quickstep, Decathlon are chasing for Lund Andresen, Rakanyi, Strong, Cort, and Ben Turner. So Ineos, I think, correctly know that Turner is quicker in a flat sprint than Axel Rons, but it's a big group. It's a big group, and we've got 12 in front, but how many teams are really chasing? The problem for EF was that pressure. Like, they couldn't, because what you want to do with EF is you attack with Baudin, then Volgren counters. He's probably the best, power guy in this group, but they never got the leash. They never got the margin to start playing like that, whereas Zimmerman was looking. He was managing the gap, not doing too much. I almost thought one of he or Gualdi needed to commit to do the lead out to keep it going. And you see the group comes back. It's within 7 seconds here. Pidcock's going to get lent on. Quick-Step are chasing, but they're running out of domestiques. And we see Group 1, are they throwing it away? Pidcock looks back. He's seeing the group is just about to come into shot around this corner. At the same time here, Volgren launches, but it's too close to the corner. So Bilbao, who's a magic bike handler, he slots onto the wheel. Tesfatsion goes there. Florian Stork for Tudor as well. And all these guys, it's such an open sprint. Almost all these guys can win the sprint outside of Pericas and Baudin. If they get the timing right, the slingshot right, almost all these guys have a chance in the sprint. I timed it. The peloton here was 2 seconds behind the front group. They're basically one group. It's 500 meters to go. They're in the slipstream here. And you're thinking, okay, Lund is in a magic position. They brought it back just in time. Unfortunately for him, Volgren stretches this group and keeps the pace up and actually takes out a second from the group behind, which never quite got back into the wheel. Jörg Zimmermann launches on the outside with 230 meters to go. Bilbao almost shuts the door on him. We'll see better in the overhead what happened. Tullet launches to the right-hand side. Pidcock's trying to find a way through the middle, but he can't get out of Zimmermann's draft, and Jörg Zimmermann wins. Here he goes left. And he gets boxed a bit by Zagira, has to stop. And so he was trying to sneak up, do what Tullet did, sneak up the left-hand side here. I think if he did that, Pidcock probably wins. Then Pericas jumps right. Zimmermann gets onto his back and then just launches it from back here far. So he launches it. The problem is 50% of the time, and he was already not braking here, but he stopped his sprint here. If Bilbao goes all the way right, his sprint is over. Stork's sprint is over. Pidcock's sprint is done. Pidcock even himself got squeezed there. And it would have been between probably Tesfatsion, Bilbao, and Tullet. And because Bilbao opened that door up, Jörg Zimmermann wins the sprint convincingly. Pidcock comes back. He finishes second. He got lent on by the group. Then Tullet, Bilbao, Gualdi fifth, Isgera, Tesfatsion, Baudin, Stork, and Pericas. Here's what the German champ had to say.
Not only the first one-day victory, but also the biggest victory of my career so far. So just so happy, I was feeling good the last couple of weeks already in the Ardennes Classics. I had good legs, and now I find myself at one of the most beautiful races on the top of the podium. That makes me proud.
Quite an entertaining final. I like the route change, and it's still a nice battle and good tension between the sprinters and the punchers. Pretty interesting winner, new winner. So I thought it was a good race. Hope you enjoyed the recap. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.